The sky above Kestrel's reach spins like a broken gyroscope, stars wheeling past in streaks of silver madness. I've been watching it for 3 days now, ever since the dusty rose kissed dirt and scattered her bones across this god-forsaken rock. The locals, what's left of them, call it the dance. Me, I call it the reason half my crew's been talking to ghosts and the other half's been trying to eat the ship's hull plating. My name's Marcus Kane, and I used to think I'd seen every flavor of hell the frontier had to offer. Turns out, I was wrong. The gravity here shifts like a drunk man's conscience. One moment you're walking steady, the next you're floating 3 feet off the ground or pressed flat against whatever surface happens to be beneath you. The survivors from the colony settlement learned to read the signs. The way dust motes dance in the air, how your shadow falls wrong, the taste of copper pennies on your tongue right before everything goes sideways, literally. But reading the signs and keeping your sanity, those are 2 different animals entirely. I'm crouched behind the twisted wreckage of what used to be my ship's port engine, watching Tommy Voss try to convince a piece of scrap metal that it's his long-dead mother. The kid's been at it for an hour now, tears streaming down his dirt-caked face as he whispers apologies to a chunk of titanium alloy. 3 days ago, Tommy was sharp as a laser cutter and twice as reliable. Now he's having family reunions with debris. The dance took him, same as it took the others. Chen's been missing since yesterday morning. Found his boots by the settlement's old water reclamation plant. Laces tied together neat as you please, but no sign of the man himself. Kowalski keeps insisting she can hear music coming from inside the ship's computer core. Been tapping out rhythms on her thigh for hours, humming along to melodies that ain't there. And Sarah. Christ, Sarah's been building something out of rocks and twisted metal, working with the focused intensity of a woman possessed. Won't say what it is, just keep stacking and arranging, stacking and arranging. The dance gets into your head through your eyes. The settlement's last surviving colonist told me before she wandered off into the wasteland, muttering about butterflies made of starlight. Something about the way the sky moves, the way gravity plays with your inner ear, scrambles the signals between what you see and what you know. Give it time, she said, and you'll start seeing things that ain't there, believing things that can't be true. I've been keeping my eyes on the ground as much as possible, but you can't navigate by boot leather alone. The comm tower sits about 2 miles northeast of here, a skeletal finger of steel and ceramic pointing at the mad sky. It's the only piece of tech on this rock still functioning, according to the settlement's records. The colonists built it to withstand the gravitational anomalies. Deep foundation, flexible superstructure, the works. If I can reach it, I can send out a distress beacon. Maybe someone will come. Maybe someone will risk their ship and their sanity to pull what's left of us off this spinning nightmare. Maybe. The tower's been calling to me for 3 days now. A distant promise of salvation rising above the broken landscape like a lighthouse in a storm. But between here and there lies 2 miles of unstable terrain, where gravity plays hopscotch, and the very air seems to whisper lies. 2 miles where the dance grows stronger with every step, where the spinning sky fills more and more of your vision, until you can't tell up from down, real from imagined. 2 miles that might as well be 2,000. I check my supplies one more time. Half a canteen of recycled water, 3 protein bars that taste like salted cardboard, a hand scanner that's been giving me grief since the crash, and my grandfather's compass. An honest-to-God magnetic compass that points to magnetic north, no matter what this world's gravity decides to do. The needle trembles as another wave of gravitational distortion passes through, but it holds true. Some things you can count on, even when everything else goes to hell. Tommy's conversation with his mother is getting more heated. He's arguing now, gesturing wildly at the piece of scrap metal, his voice rising to a pitch that makes my teeth ache. The dance is tightening its grip on him, and soon he'll be gone entirely, lost in whatever maze of madness his mind is building to cope with this place. I can't save him, can't save any of them, but maybe I can save whoever comes looking for us, warn them about Kestrel's reach and its hungry sky. Tell them to mark this system as a navigational hazard and move on. Sometimes the best you can do is make sure the next fool doesn't make the same mistakes. I shoulder my pack and start walking. The ground beneath my feet is solid enough. Red clay mixed with chunks of some kind of crystalline mineral that catches the light from the spinning stars above. The settlement survey team called it gravitite in their reports, claimed it was somehow connected to the gravitational anomalies. Might be true. Might be wishful thinking. Doesn't matter much now. What matters is keeping my eyes down and my feet moving. The first gravitational shift hits me about a quarter mile from the crash site. One moment I'm walking steady, the next I'm weightless, drifting 3 feet above the ground like a man-shaped balloon. My stomach lurches as my inner ear tries to figure out which way is up, but I've felt this before. I spread my arms wide for stability and wait it out. 30 seconds later, gravity reasserts itself, and I drop back to earth with a grunt that knocks the wind from my lungs. The compass needle spins wildly for a moment, then settles back to north. Still on course. I keep walking, eyes fixed on the red clay and glittering gravitite, trying not to think about the way the shadows are moving wrong around me. Shadows don't dance when there's only one sun in the sky, but mine are waltzing to music I can't hear. The dance is reaching for me, patient as a spider in its web. The second shift comes without warning. A sudden increase in gravity that drives me to my knees and makes my bones creak like old ship timbers. The pack on my shoulders feels like it's full of lead ingots, and for a terrifying moment, I think I'm going to be pressed flat against the ground like a bug under a boot. But the wave passes, leaving me gasping and shaking, my knees scraped raw through my pants. The compass needle holds steady. North, always north. I may be half a mile from the crash site when I see her, a woman in a faded blue dress, standing in the middle of the wasteland like she's waiting for a bus that's never coming. She's got her back to me, long dark hair moving in a breeze I can't feel, and something about the way she stands makes my chest tight with recognition. It's Elena Vasquez, dead these past 5 years in a mining accident on Titan's Gate. Elena, who used to sing old Earth ballads while she worked the nav console, who could make coffee taste like heaven, even when it was synthesized from recycled water and hope. Elena, who died in my arms while the dusty Rose medical bay filled with smoke and the smell of burning electronics. She turns around, and her face is exactly as I remember. Olive skin, dark eyes that sparkle with mischief. The small scar on her chin from a childhood accident she never liked to talk about. She smiles, and it's like the sun coming up after a long, cold night. "Marcus," she says, and her voice is warm honey over broken glass. "I've been waiting for you. I know it's not real. Know it's the dance, playing tricks with my mind, using my memories against me like a weapon. But knowing and feeling are two different things. And right now my heart is hammering against my ribs like it's trying to escape. My feet want to carry me to her, want to close the distance between us, and pretend that death is just another kind of distance that can be crossed. Instead, I close my eyes and count to 10. When I open them again, she's gone, but I can still smell her perfume on the wind, jasmine and starlight, the scent of better days. The compass needle trembles but holds true. North, the tower. Salvation, maybe, if I can keep my sanity long enough to reach it. I keep walking. The landscape around me starts to change as I move away from the crash site. The red clay gives way to patches of something that looks like glass. Smooth black surfaces that reflect the spinning sky above. I try not to look at the reflections, but it's hard to avoid them entirely. In the corner of my eye, I catch glimpses of movement, shapes that shouldn't be there. A child's toy spinning in the wind, a rocking chair moving back and forth with no one in it. A dog that looks like Rex, the mutt I had as a kid back on New Austin. The dance is getting stronger. Another gravity shift hits, this one sideways, like the world has decided that east is the new down. I stumble and nearly fall as my inner ear screams, protests, but I manage to keep my feet. The compass spins wildly, then settles. Still pointing north, even though north is now perpendicular to the ground. I laugh, and the sound is sharp and bitter in the thin air. "Thanks, Grandpa." I mutter to the compass. At least one thing in this universe still makes sense. The tower is visible now, maybe a mile away across the broken landscape. It rises from the ground like a prayer made of steel and ceramic, its communication array spinning slowly at the top. Even from here, I can see the status lights blinking. Green for operational, amber for standby. It's working. It's actually working. But between me and the tower lies the hardest part of the journey. The ground here is more glass than clay, and the gravitational anomalies are stronger. Worse, the spinning sky fills more of my vision with each step, and I can feel the dance pulling at the edges of my consciousness like fingers made of starlight and madness. I see my father, dead 20 years now, standing beside a broken piece of machinery that might once have been an atmospheric processor. He's wearing his old mining gear, the same gear he died in when the tunnel collapsed on Xerxes Prime. He waves at me, his face creased with a smile I remember from childhood. "Come on, son," he calls. "Just like old times, you and me against the universe." I don't close my eyes this time. I walk past him, feeling his presence like a cold wind at my back, and keep the compass needle centered in my vision. North, the tower, the only real thing in a world full of lies. The ground beneath my feet starts to slope upward, and I realize I'm climbing the low hill where the colonists built their communication array. The tower looms above me now, maybe 300 yards away, its base surrounded by the twisted remains of the settlement's other buildings. The colonists tried to build close to their lifeline, but the dance took them just the same. I can see bodies now, or what's left of them, desiccated corpses in faded clothing, scattered around the tower's base like offerings to some hungry god. Some are sitting upright, staring at the spinning sky with empty sockets. Others are curled in fetal positions, arms wrapped around their knees as if they're trying to hold themselves together. A few are standing, frozen in place like statues, their faces turned toward the tower as if they died reaching for salvation. The dance got them all in the end. A massive gravitational wave hits just as I'm picking my way through the corpse field. This one's different, not just a shift in direction or intensity, but a complete reversal. Up becomes down, and I find myself falling toward the spinning sky, the ground receding below me like a bad memory. My pack pulls me downward or upward, depending on how you look at it. And for a terrifying moment, I think I'm going to fall forever, tumbling through the mad stars until I go insane or die of thirst, whichever comes first. But the wave passes, and gravity snaps back to normal with a violence that drives me face first into the glassy ground. My nose breaks with a wet crunch, and blood streams down my face, but I'm alive. Still alive, still moving, still pointing north. The tower is close now, maybe 50 yards. I can see the control panel at its base, the emergency beacon transmitter that will carry my message to whatever ships might be listening. The status lights are still blinking green and amber, a promise of hope in this landscape of madness and death. But the dance isn't done with me yet. They come from everywhere at once. Every person I've ever lost, every ghost that haunts my dreams. Elena walks beside my father, her hand in his, both of them smiling like they're heading to a church social instead of trying to drag me into madness. My mother appears, looking exactly as she did the day she left us, suitcase in hand and tears on her cheeks. Tommy Voss is there too, but not the broken version I left behind at the crash site. This is the Tommy from before, sharp-eyed and grinning, telling jokes that aren't funny but make you laugh anyway. They form a circle around me as I stumble toward the tower, their voices blending into a chorus of memory and loss. They're not trying to stop me exactly. They're trying to convince me to stay, to give up this foolish quest and join them in whatever place the dance has prepared for the lost and broken. It's easier this way, Elena says, her voice soft as silk. No more running, no more fighting, just peace. The boy's got the right idea, my father adds, nodding toward the corpses around the tower's base. They found what they were looking for in the end. I want to listen. God help me. I want to stop and rest and let the dance take me like it took all the others. My legs feel like they're made of lead, and my chest burns with every breath. The blood from my broken nose tastes like copper pennies and defeat. But the compass needle still points north, still points toward the tower and the promise of salvation it represents. I take another step. Another. The ghosts follow, their voices growing more insistent, more desperate. They know they're losing me, that I'm almost beyond their reach. The dance itself seems to pulse around me, the spinning sky wheeling faster, the gravitational anomalies coming in waves that threaten to tear me apart. 20 yards, 15, 10. The control panel is right there, its surface covered with switches and displays that look blessedly familiar. Emergency beacon transmitter, frequency selector, power coupling, all the standard equipment I've seen on 100 different worlds. I reach for the activation switch, my hand shaking so badly I can barely aim. Marcus, don't! Elena pleads. Stay with us. Stay with me. My finger hovers over the switch. All I have to do is press it, and the beacon will activate. Someone will hear. Someone will come. But Elena's face is so real, so perfect, and the dance is whispering promises of rest and peace and an end to all the running. I think about Tommy, talking to scrap metal like it's his mother. About Chen, missing and probably dead. About Kowalski, hearing music that isn't there. About Sarah, building monuments to madness out of rocks and twisted steel. I think about the next ship that might stumble into this system, the next crew that might crash land on Kestrel's reach and find themselves dancing to the rhythm of a broken sky. I press the switch. The beacon activates with a soft chime, and suddenly, the air is full of electromagnetic radiation, carrying my message out into the void at the speed of light. Emergency transmission. I transmit through the panel's microphone, my voice hoarse and broken. This is Marcus Kane of the merchant vessel, Dusty Rose. We have crashed on the 4th planet of the Kestrel system. Do not attempt rescue. Repeat, do not attempt rescue. This world is a navigational hazard. Mark it as such and stay away. The gravitational anomalies cause severe psychological disturbance. All colonists are dead. Most of my crew is dead or insane. Mark this system as hazardous and stay away. I repeat the message 3 times, then switch the beacon to automatic transmission. It will broadcast my warning every hour on the hour until the power cells die or someone shuts it off. Maybe it will save lives. Maybe it will just be another ghost signal, floating through the void until the heat death of the universe. But I tried. That has to count for something. The ghosts are gone now, faded like morning mist. The dance still pulls at me, still whispers promises of madness and peace, but its grip has loosened. Maybe because I've done what I came to do. Maybe because even the dance respects a job well done. I sit down with my back against the tower's base and pull out my last protein bar. It tastes like salted cardboard, but it's real food in a world full of lies, and that makes it precious beyond measure. The compass sits in my lap, its needle still pointing steadily north, and I find myself thinking about my grandfather, a man who believed in simple truths and reliable tools, who taught me that sometimes the old ways are the best ways. The sky above me spins on, stars wheeling past in their eternal dance, but I don't look up. I keep my eyes on the horizon, on the red clay and glittering gravitite, on the solid, dependable things that don't change just because the universe has gone mad. I don't know how long I sit there. Could be hours, could be days. Time moves strangely here, like everything else. But eventually I hear it, the distant whine of atmospheric engines, growing louder by the minute. Someone heard my message. Someone's coming. I stand up, legs shaking with exhaustion, and activate the beacon's homing signal. The ship appears over the horizon like a silver prayer, sleek and fast and beautiful. It circles the tower once, twice, then settles to the ground about 100 yards away, its engines kicking up clouds of red dust and gravitite. The airlock opens, and a figure in an environmental suit steps out. The suit's helmet is polarized, but I can see the pilot inside, a woman with short gray hair and eyes like chips of winter ice. She approaches cautiously, one hand on the weapon at her hip. "Marcus Kane," she calls through her suit's external speakers. "That's me," I reply, my voice barely more than a whisper. "I'm Captain Sarah Chen of the Meridian. We received your distress beacon." She stops about 10 feet away, studying me with those cold eyes. "You look like hell." I laugh, and the sound is harsh and broken. Feel worse than I look, Captain. You shouldn't have come. This place. It gets into your head. So your message said. She glances up at the spinning sky, then quickly looks away. How many survivors? Just me, as far as I know. The others. I gesture toward the crash site, somewhere beyond the horizon. The dance took them. She nods like she understands, though I doubt she really does. Not yet. Can you walk to my ship? I think so. I pocket the compass and shoulder my empty pack. Captain, how long before we can leave? Soon as you're aboard. I don't like the feel of this place. Smart woman. I follow her toward the meridian, keeping my eyes on the ground and my thoughts focused on simple things. The sound of my boots on the glassy earth, the weight of the pack on my shoulders, the steady rhythm of my breathing. Real things. Dependable things. Behind us, the beacon continues its automatic transmission, warning other ships away from Kestrel's reach and its hungry sky. It's a small victory, maybe the only one I'll ever have, but it's mine. The Meridian's airlock closes behind us with a soft hiss, sealing out the madness and the spinning stars. Captain Chen helps me to a seat in the passenger compartment, then disappears toward the cockpit. A few minutes later, I feel the ship lift off, rising away from the surface and its gravitational anomalies. Through the small porthole beside my seat, I watch Kestrel's reach fall away below us, a red and black marble spinning in the void. Beautiful and terrible and utterly mad. The dance is still there, still waiting for the next ship, the next crew, the next fool who thinks they can survive what can't be survived. But my warning is there too, broadcasting into the void, a lighthouse in the storm of human ambition and curiosity. Maybe it will be enough. Maybe the next captain who sees Kestrel's reach on their star charts will remember my message and choose a different course. Maybe. I close my eyes and let the steady hum of the ship's engines wash over me like a lullaby. For the first time in days, I allow myself to hope that I might see another sunrise, might taste real coffee again, might find a quiet place where the sky doesn't spin and gravity knows which way is down. The compass rests heavy in my pocket, its needle still pointing north, toward home, toward sanity, toward whatever comes next in this vast and dangerous universe. Some things you can count on, even when everything else goes to hell. Especially then.